Molly does not want to do this. Toby's asleep. She wants to be asleep too, I guess. Hi guys, how are ya? It's Carol. How you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I didn't think I was going to get a video in, but here I am. Um, I think I'm going to tell you the cat story I've been trying to get Casey to do for you. And it'll be the abbreviated version. But you guys remember Valerie, that was our maintenance person for a short while. She's no longer here. Darn. Valerie is the one that fixed my dishwasher. Well, uh, Casey walks her dog Andy a lot farther than I ever get. And so she would see Valerie pretty often out on the grounds of the complex. And Valerie told her one day that she volunteers with a animal rescue place called Gracie's Project. And that this cat had been brought in and it wasn't a real friendly cat. But she took it home to foster it until they could find a home for it. Evidently, she did that a lot, fostering animals. And so one weekend, Gracie's Project was having animals at PetSmart for adoption. And she took this cat down there in her crate and got her all set up. And then she left. And after a while, somebody from PetSmart called and said, "Come get this cat." And she said, "Oh, no, that wasn't my cat. I'm with Gracie's Project. I was just bringing her for your adoption day." And they said, no, you have to come get this cat." And she said, "Well, it's not mine." But she went ahead and went. And they told her what's going on. And she is terrorizing all the customers that come anywhere near the crate where she's at. That she would be sticking her little paw through the rails of the crate with her claws out, trying to scratch everybody and doing that thing and hissing at them. And that she was absolutely horrible. Would not let anybody get anywhere near close. And so they wanted her to be picked up. So Valerie goes to pick her up, and she tells them, "This is not my cat. I'm fostering her for Gracie's Project, but it's not mine." And they said, "We don't care. You have to take it." And she said, "Well, I can't afford the adoption fee." And they said, no, we're going to give you the cat. Just get her out of here." And about that time, she looks down there, and this cat's way in the back of the row. You know how PetSmart does have a line of crates of animals that need a home. And this cat was way in the back. And but instead of being when she saw Valerie, she turned into a sweet kitty, and she stuck her little paw through the things and just waved it back and forth and cried. Just cried and waved. Like she was saying, "You left me here, come pick me up." So Valerie took her home, and now she has a cat. I just thought that was funny. Not much going on here today. We were doing homeschooling. I needed to check this fact to make sure I heard it correctly. But Rhett and I were talking about blue whales. And I think his material said a blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant. I just can't imagine how huge they are. I'll double check that and tell you if that's correct information or not. Not much going on. I told you guys days ago that I was going to make pumpkin crinkle cookies. I should never tell you I'm going to do anything. I am not reliable. But Casey made bran muffins, and then she made banana bread, and I didn't think we needed anything else right now, but maybe tomorrow. I'll see. Oh, my view of the world is like this. I mean, I have a tiny little existence. I've always lived in New Mexico and Texas. I'm not a worldly person at all. And so yesterday, when I posted the picture of my wheat straw plate with the cornbread and then the bowl of pinto beans in my very favorite bowl. Um, it never dawned on me that other people don't eat that way. I mean, my little world is so small, I forget that we're not all in this country, we're not all the same. One of my subs commented that she had never eaten a bowl of pinto beans. She'd eaten pinto beans in a recipe, but not just to eat a bowl. Well, where I grew up, um, that was a staple. Uh, I grew up in a little bitty town in New Mexico, and New Mexico's a very poor state. Um, Beans would just be something that would be on the table in most homes every day. If you weren't eating a bowl of pinto beans, you were eating refried beans. That's just how it was. In fact, I remember, um, I never did it, but I remember being told that you could take the broth off the beans, which is basically water. And uh, the way you cook beans is the way I do it. I put 3 cups of pinto beans that have been washed, put them in my crock pot, cover that completely with water up to the top, sprinkle in some seasoned salt, and let them cook till they're soft. I don't know how other people make their beans, but my mom did them in a pressure cooker. But anyway, the broth gets sort of a brown color. And in New Mexico, people used to fill baby bottles with that broth and give that to a baby. Baby's first food, real food, would most likely be a plate of pinto beans that had been smashed with a fork. That's how I grew up. And everybody ate pinto beans and cornbread, or with a flour tortilla. And I most often eat mine just with cornbread. But when I was growing up, we always put diced onion on top. That was a very common thing. And then, or chow chow. Chow chow is a relish. I guess in case y'all don't eat chow chow. Chow chow is a relish made of fermented, diced up very tiny cabbage and green tomatoes and peppers and some spices and vinegar. It's really good. The brand I buy here in Texas is Mrs. Renfro's chow chow. Oh, so good. And you put that on top of your beans, makes them delicious. And the way I eat it is I usually take my cornbread and crumble it up in my bowl and stir it all up with my beans, and I love it. It's one of my favorite meals. But it never dawned on me that not everybody eats a bowl of beans. And then I got to thinking, well, you know what? I've never had clams or oysters or lobster or any kind of seafood. I live in Texas and New Mexico. Let me tell you what seafood is to me. About once a year, we go to the frozen food section at Walmart and buy a package of Mrs. Paul's fish fillets. I don't particularly care for them, but that's fish to me. Or salmon. The only kind of salmon I've ever eaten is I get a can of Honey Boy salmon, put it in a bowl, scrape off the black skin and the bones, put salt and pepper and an egg and some flour and some crushed up crackers. Stir that all up until it'll stick together, and then fry them into little salmon patties. That's the extent of my seafood menu. I live in the Southwest, not the deep South, so I've never had grits. I don't know what other people in the country eat commonly like beans are to me. So you'll have to tell me, what is your very staple thing? What do people eat mostly? In New Mexico, people eat beans real often. I remember my mother-in-law, she was a good cook, but she always had a pot of beans cooking, or beans in the refrigerator that she could warm up. No matter what she served, there was beans on the table. I guess everybody doesn't eat the same. She made the best roast. She, cooked it in the oven, made the best gravy I have ever eaten. And she had cornbread real often too, with whatever they were having. And she would make cornbread fairly flat, and we would eat that gravy on top of the cornbread, which sounds gross, but oh man, it was good. I wish I could make gravy like she could. It was a brown gravy, not a cream gravy. Um, but yeah, here in my part of the world, maybe you put sliced jalapenos on it, but onion is common. Chow chow. Crumble up your cornbread in there, stir it all up. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So, this is how I felt about it. It just never dawned on me that not everybody eats a bowl of pinto beans. I just thought that was, everybody eats that all the time. um, what made me think, when I read this, it just so stunned me. What I thought of is, in that movie Big Fat Greek Wedding, when the girl that's engaged to the man is introducing him to her aunt, I think, and she tells her aunt he doesn't eat meat, he's a vegetarian, and the aunt goes, he don't eat no meat? That's what I thought. You don't eat beans? I'm not making fun of you. No, don't go there. I am not making fun of anybody. I'm just saying, I was shocked. Because in New Mexico, everybody eats beans all the time. Okay, guys, I don't know much else. I will say, when I play a lot of Words with Friends, and I like to play, I go to AARP and I play Bubble Dragons. And to get there, I go to Google and search Bubble Dragons. I haven't downloaded an app. And so then I see some news items. And today I happened to notice Melissa Gilbert had an article there saying that today is World Mental Health Day. And in this article, she was talking about her dad. He was a World War II veteran, and he had been injured and was forever in constant pain from this injury. And eventually he took his life. And she said if her dad had received proper care, things might have turned out differently. Because back then, you brushed it under the rug. You didn't talk about mental illness. No, you didn't talk about that. She says, don't brush things under the rug. Be there, she added. Be honest, love one another, help, and end the stigma. I'm going to leave the suicide hotline number here. I'll stick it in when I go to edit. I've struggled with mental illness my entire life, which have numerous members of my family. There have been a couple of suicides. A lot of us have received treatment for mental illness, and me and my kids. And I know in our world, people who aren't affected by it don't understand. They don't understand, thank goodness. I don't want you to understand. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if anyone ever says to you that they have thoughts of suicide or are struggling with a mental illness issue, please be there for them. Don't brush it off, or don't say, "Oh, you're fine. You'll wake up tomorrow and feel better." If anybody ever says anything like that to you, please contact the suicide hotline and ask what you should do. Encourage them to contact the suicide hotline so that they can get help. They need help. Badly do they need help. The year that I went in the hospital was 2010. And for months before, I went in the hospital at the very end of April of 2010. But for months before that, I had been struggling really, really, really hard. This time of year, October through January, is the worst time of the year for many, many mental health patients. Partially because there's not as much sunshine, but also the holidays and feeling of loneliness and regret that you don't have enough money to do everything for everybody, or you don't have a family to go home to, or, I mean, this is just a very sad period of the year for a lot of people for different reasons. But my cycle always starts in October, where I have a really hard time. This year I'm doing good. I think you guys helped me. But anyway, in 2009, in October, I started getting really bad, and it was just the worst time. And I remember in January being very, very, very bad, and just got worse every day. And tears, I just couldn't help it. Tears would roll down my cheeks at work. And people just were embarrassed for me, and so they just turned the other way. I just felt all alone, and just at the end of my rope. I just couldn't cope with life. I mean, I was having a horrible hard time. And I remember I had a very good friend at work that I trusted. And so I said to this coworker one day, I was shelving some stuff, and they had come to talk to me, and tears were pouring down my cheeks. I mean, I just could not control it. And I said to them, I just can't hold on anymore. I can't hold on. And bless their heart, they didn't know what to say. So they just said, well, hang in there, Carol. Which is all they knew to do. I'm not blaming them for anything. I'm just saying nobody knows what to do. Let me tell you, contact the suicide hotline. Find out from them what's the best thing you can do. Get this. If someone ever says anything like that, you get them some help. Help them as much as you can. I don't know anything else. I will talk to you tomorrow. Maybe we'll have pumpkin crinkle cookies. Who knows? I appreciate you guys so much. You guys have helped me tremendously, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your comments. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. These are my favorites. My friend sent me 3 pair. Okay, see you tomorrow, guys. Bye. Today, from my spot on the couch, I could see the wind was blowing the trees outside my patio door. And sometimes I just love to watch the wind blow. I just like to watch the wind blow. So that's what this is. The wind's blowing. Do you remember that song, Blowing in the Wind? Oh, I love that song. If I could sing, I would sing it for you now, but I can't carry a tune in a bucket. You do not want me singing you a song.